Hey everybody, Beth Walker, founder of College Funding Coaches and mother of a college-bound student. Here at College Funding Coaches, our mission is very straightforward. We want to create a world in which kids are educated not just to get a good job, but in a manner that allows them to understand who and what they are, who and what they're capable of becoming, and how they can use their talents to make a meaningful contribution to their world. In a very short time frame, 2/3 of all jobs will require post-secondary education, and more than half of those will require at least a bachelor's degree. Most parents today don't fully understand the changes that have taken place in the earnings gap between those with a high school diploma and a college degree. Back in the 1980s, college graduates earned 19% more than those with a high school diploma. By the end of the 90s, that had jumped to a 58% difference. And at this point in the game, a college degree will outpace a high school graduate by close to 75% in terms of lifetime's earning capacity. So there's a big difference between those with an education after high school and those without it. And in our knowledge-based economy, kids today, as well as their parents, understand that they need to go to college to compete for jobs that are going to pay them well. So what's the problem? There's really three major issues that families face today: price, plan, and process. And I'm going to spend just a minute on each one of these to help you understand the issues. Let's start with the cost of college. On an inflation-adjusted basis, college is an out-of-control freight train, dwarfing the increasing costs of medical care. The fact is, with more than half of students today taking 6 years to complete a 4-year degree, that $20,000 or $30,000 or in some cases $50,000 a year really takes its toll in terms of creating unprecedented debt for the student and or a delayed retirement for mom and dad. Plan? Hey, ask any kid today if they want to go to college and they will quickly answer yes. Ask them why, and they're going to tell you it's because they want to get a good job. But then ask them how they plan to make that happen. Go to college and get a good job, and you're going to get a speechless blank stare. We've all kind of accepted the idea that some great miracle is going to transport these students to a fabulous college experience that magically translates into a career with unlimited income potential. But back in 2005, there was a policy report written by the folks over at ACT. They are one of the authors of standardized tests. What they discovered is that teachers, parents, and students all believe college is the path to prosperity, but no one is taking responsibility for developing the blueprint. How do you get from a high school student to a student that can A, get into college, and B, actually succeed in a 4-year time frame? That is absolutely being left to chance in today's world. And that brings me to our third problem area: process. Too many parents today are placing their trust in an outdated education and guidance counselor system. A recent survey conducted by Public Agenda for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation asked individuals ages 22 to 30 who had attended college about their experience with guidance counselors and college preparation in high school. Unfortunately, they didn't give them a very good grade. Almost 2/3 gave fair or poor ratings to their guidance counselors in terms of helping them decide where to go, what to study, certainly how to pay for school. And no wonder. Today's counselors don't have the time nor the tools for preparing our students to go to college in the 21st century. I mean, their own association recommends a student counselor ratio of 250 kids to every one counselor, and the national average is currently 476 kids to every counselor. Talk about at-risk youth. In my mind, we've found ourselves in a culture of every child left behind. So let's review. Price, out of control. Plan, non-existent. Process, broken. All of this, by the way, is totally avoidable and can be fixed. I know that because I've done it with hundreds of students and their families over the last several years. We've found great schools for kids to attend and saved parents tens of thousands of dollars in the process. It is possible to take what is considered impossible and make it a reality. But let me back up and start at the beginning. 2002 was a big year for me. On the professional front, I finished my book, An Employee's Guide to Stock Options. As a financial planner, I had identified employee stock options as an area that was really misunderstood by the employees receiving them, the employers granting them, and certainly by the CPAs, attorneys, and financial advisors trying to give advice. This is just a complicated form of compensation. The tax treatment is complex. Most employees and their advisors have no idea how to optimize this tool and how to use it in the overall context of their wealth building efforts. And I know that from personal experience. My husband Derek was part of a startup technology company that went public in 2000. So here I am in the industry asking for expertise from my colleagues, only to find myself getting the runaround and a lot of bad advice. Long story short, I was so frustrated I wrote a book about it, hoping that other people wouldn't make the same expensive and totally avoidable mistakes. But then the tech wreck cratered the stock market, stock options lost their allure as a compensation tool, and interest on the whole topic sort of faded to black. So I'm proud to say I'm the published author of a book that almost no one I know or love will ever read. But that professional accomplishment, publishing a book, paled in comparison to one of my life's greatest moments, the birth of my son, Mac. Suddenly, a whole new dimension to my life opened up and began to unfold before me. And I had no idea that such a blessing in my personal life would forever change the trajectory of my professional life. You know, as a planner, as a financial planner, it's an occupational hazard for me to run the numbers and analyze life events from a financial perspective. And although I had run dozens of cost calculations for clients before and talked about how you fund for college, suddenly when Mac's name was on the report, things took on a whole new meaning. I mean, I remember looking at the projected costs and thinking, wait a minute, something's got to be wrong here. How could it possibly cost Derek and I almost $500,000 to put our son through school? I mean, I ran these numbers no less than 5 times, double checking my inputs, making sure I hadn't made a keystroke error. The fact is, with an annual inflation rate of 7%, by 2020, when Mac is old enough to go to school, it's talking significant 6-figure investment here. So once again, I found myself in an industry that offered very little in terms of good advice or direction. I'm surrounded by so-called professionals who are basically shrugging their shoulders and say, open a 529 plan or buy some savings bonds. I just knew deep down inside there had to be a better way. And it turns out there is. I found this group called the National Institute for Certified College Planners, the NICCP. This professional association run by a CPA is dedicated to figuring out how to save families money when they send their kids to college. We study the financial aid system, the income tax system, the education tax credits, the college admissions process, cash flow strategies, asset repositioning strategies, basically any way we can legally optimize a family's financial circumstance as it relates to college. So I studied, I took a series of tests, and I became a certified college planning specialist. And then my real education began. Because as I began to promote this part of my financial practice, an interesting thing started to happen. Parents would hire me and they'd be very thankful for the things that we would do together, but they kept asking me, can you help my son or daughter figure out where they want to go to school or what they want to study? And the more families I worked with, the more obvious it became that by focusing solely on the financial side of things, I was only solving half of the college problem for that family. I had no idea how much of the cost of college was directly related to the student. I mean, I could develop a truly elegant solution for parents from a tax and a cash flow perspective, but if it took a kid 6 years to finish a 4-year degree, that family just spent an extra 25% on college that they shouldn't have had to. I began to understand in very real financial terms that I had to create a total solution, which meant helping the kids develop a game plan. They had to be able to answer questions like, where do you want to go to school? And what do you want to study? Before they ever applied. So I created a very simple success formula that's worked really well for the past several years. I call it college finding and college funding. I mean, you've heard that necessity is the mother of invention, and as a mother, I love the fact that when problems need to be solved, mothers find a way to solve them. So here I am, a financial planner, learning the sequence of success related to students figuring out what's the right career path for me, and which majors support that career path. And by the way, which schools excel in those fields of study. And once I have that list of schools, which ones fit the student's learning style and match the family budget? On the parent side of the equation, we kind of organize the financial junk drawer. We figure out, how do I create a tax scholarship and get Uncle Sam to help underwrite some of the costs of college? I mean, what's so ironic is that I'm not a guidance counselor, I'm not an educator, I'm not a college admissions consultant. What I am is that financial professional and mother that woke up one day and said, stop this insanity. And I discovered there is a better way for all of us to make sure our kids can compete in today's global economy without going broke in the process. So thanks to Mac, I'm on a mission to inform, instruct, and inspire every family who wants to send kids to college. I want to improve the outcome for both the students and the parents, and after years of finding, testing, and using the best possible tools for students and parents, I'm happy to say we've cracked the code. We know what to use and when to use it, so families find the right schools for the right reasons and pay the right price. And thanks to modern technology, I can provide this kind of guidance and coaching to a much broader audience. So if you're a parent of a college-bound student, here's the one thing I want you to do while you're thinking about this. Go to the website on the bottom of this slide and calculate your cost for one college education. Now, the inflation rate default will be set at 5%, but if you click on the little question mark button to the right, it'll give you a range of between 5 and 8%. Do yourself a favor, put 7% in that box. This is not an area where you want to underestimate. I hope you found this video informative and that it inspires you to take ownership of a process that will have a profound effect on your future and that of your college-bound student. In the next day or so, I'm going to send you another video with the intention of informing and instructing you more about the college process. My mission is to make a difference in your family's college efforts, so please leave a comment or question below if I can provide any further insight. Finally, if you know of another family that would benefit from learning what you have today, forward this to them. Invite them to join our community of informed parents dedicated to educating our kids without going broke.